When I started listening to my guides consistently, my life changed in a lot of unpredictable and pretty amazing ways. And one of the things that, if you've been in my world for a while, you would know that I talk about is channeling is a tool, and it's an incredibly powerful tool that we can have. And when we use that tool to create our life, to grow our business, when we lean onto that and embody that tool rather than just being like something that we use, rather it's a way of life and way we live, we become spirit-led, which is when our life is a co-creation with the divine. And I think this is ultimately in this Aquarian age where we are moving into, where our lives are a co-creation with the divine. And I want to share with you today about when I began to channel and I began to ask for advice and guidance, how that actually transformed the different areas of my life and how I worked with my guides in those different areas. Because before I began to do that, before I began to channel on all of these different areas, I was pretty stuck. I was pretty uncertain. There was this feeling of not really being fully sure, not really being certain either, like there being lots of confusion, not knowing 100% which direction to take. It's like now when I feel into my life, I feel like I'm very certain, I'm very connected, grounded. It's like I have this clarity, right? And this knowing and a deep trust that goes with it. And I didn't have that before. And so there was a lot of stress about decisions and which way I was going to go and what was I going to do and what was I going to create and how were things going to work out, which I just don't experience anymore, right? But it's because of channeling. So I want to share a little bit about that today with you, because in all of those moments, it actually allowed me to live a really beautiful spirit-led life. And one of my favorite examples is in my relationship. So when I met my now husband, I was actually in a relationship with my ex. He had actually come to one of my events to come and learn channeling from me. There was nothing there romantic at all. However, I was very much in like those last final 6-month kind of things ending. I was with my ex for a long time, for 7 years, from high school to age 22 or just before age 23. And we were very much in that kind of knowing it's ending and it's not aligned anymore, but also there was a level of codependency. Like we had both come from very traumatized backgrounds, and like we did in a sense grow up together. So there was a lot of codependency, and Spirit had been telling me for quite some time, Athena, it's time for you to leave. Athena, you need to leave. Athena, this isn't aligned for you anymore. But I really struggled with it, right? I had a really hard time moving, even though it was a knowing that I had to go. I had so many fears. I had fears. What if I won't have anybody? What if I won't be okay? What if I don't find anyone else? What if I won't be loved again? All the human stuff, right? I definitely had those fears. And what ended up pulling me out is the faith and also the conversation with my guides of course there is a divine life partner for you. Of course you're going to be loved. Of course, right? And leaning into that faith. And so I did break up with my ex, nothing to do with my now husband, but I had already met him. But I didn't even think of him romantically. I was like, cool, that's the one that came to my workshops. That's it. So I did break up with my ex. And for about 3 weeks, I was single. And I remember thinking, wow, I haven't been single since I've been 16. This is, wow, cool. I get to live life for me. I'm so excited to be single. And it was 3 weeks later that my now husband asked to meet up with me for coffee. And it wasn't romantic either. He literally had just watched one of my videos and was like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about this more. Do you reckon we can grab a coffee one day? And I politely said, no, sorry. No, just nicely, no. Because I had a lot on my plate. I was very busy. So I said, no, I don't have the time, the capacity right now, but thank you. And then I remember that night I went to an event and my spirit guides came to me and they said, Athena, you you have to meet up with him. You have to go get coffee with him. And I was like, oh, all right, there must be something I need to learn from him. So I made the time, I messaged him and I said, hey, can you still meet up? And he said, yeah, what about tomorrow? I said, yeah, actually, I can make tomorrow work. So we did. We met up the next day. And within an hour, it was like that connection when you meet someone and you know, oh, there's a spark, there's something here. And the 1 hour in the cafe turned into like a 8-hour day. We ended up at the beach, had our first kiss there, the whole thing. And that was 7 years ago now. And it all started there. But for me, it was very important in my channelings that I received that guidance about my relationship, because it helped me, it guided me, it showed me. And I think about if I hadn't received that guidance about my husband, well, they would have kept trying to make me bump into him in different places and my human wouldn't have seen it, right? So fortunately, I was able to listen to my guides. My business was one of the massive places, and you guys, if you've listened to my stuff, you'll know I talk about this, because I was able to get real clarity on my soul purpose, right? Soul purpose, my soul gifts, what I'm here to do, how I'm here to share it, and go deeper into that. Because a big problem for light workers and light leaders is when they're not in their soul purpose and they're trying to make money. That's honestly one of the number one reasons I see when they're doing all the right things and it's just not going. It's like, yeah, because you're not in your soul purpose. The amount of people that I have seen like completely blocked, like their soul actually blocks them because they're like, we don't want you to make a lot of money from this. We need you to focus on what you came here to do, your soul purpose. So you need to have that clarity and the knowingness of this is what I came here to do, because that's where you're going to create a lot of abundance from, right? That's the best, fastest, most aligned way to create abundance in your soul purpose. So I was kind of, before I actually started channeling from my business, I was not 100% sure on what the direction of my business should look like. And I was listening to business coaches who were telling me, oh, you should do this, or strategically you should do this. But it wasn't soul aligned. It wasn't aligned with what I'm here to do. But I was listening to that because I thought, well, they know best, right? And what do you think ended up happening? I didn't get the results. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't the thing because it wasn't my soul purpose. But when I just went, no, I'm going to do what feels fully right, what's aligned with my soul purpose, go all in. And I began to ask Spirit, what programs, how should they be set up? When should I launch? How much should I charge for this? Channeling my modalities, channeling content, doing all of the things, the marketing, everything with Spirit. That's when my business blew up. Like that's when it grew and it grew and it grew. And I have separate trainings and talks about that. But that's what actually allowed me to scale my business to 7 figures, is when I began to channel my spirit guides and my spiritual business guides. It's like the best business coach you can have. So absolutely use it in business and also in abundance and money. Actually being able to channel money guides and the energy of money itself and converse to it allow me to heal my relationship deeply with money. And also be able to manifest and create an abundant life and money by understanding money from that energetic level. I was also able to call in friendships, and I remember now I have such beautiful female friendships that I'm so grateful for. And I remember when I was manifesting them, because back then I was living in Sydney, when I was calling them in and I could feel their energy, and Spirit kept saying to me, after you move, you're going to find them after you move. And I was like, okay. And it's funny because that's the other part where channeling is very important when we are manifesting, right? Because sometimes we don't realize that there's one thing we have to do to get the result, right? So I was manifesting friendships, but I was in the wrong place. So I had a knowing and a trust. Okay, great. So I'm going to keep manifesting and it's going to come when I move, right? I wasn't getting angry and going, I'm doing all the manifestation work. Where is it? I was shown why it's like not coming. And then sure enough, when I moved, literally within like a month, it was fast. The beautiful female friendships showed up and they're my best friends to this day. And I'm so grateful for the friendships, exactly what I was manifesting and calling in. But it was through the channeling. And I was also it was my guides who told me to move up here in the first place, right? They're like, go live here. When we found the house, they were like, yep, that's the one, go for it. So even moving, finding the house, manifestation, healing, that's another part of my life, because you guys know I had so much trauma, severe chronic anxiety, like I had so many different things, and channeling for my healing was so important, understanding what modalities were going to help me for my own healing, what was going to come up. Now when I'm like, I find myself coming up against something, I'm asking Spirit, what do I need to do? What beliefs do I need to clear? What do I need to shift into to support me in my healing work? So it really is like everywhere. My husband and I sit down every week and we channel about goals and what we want to step into, what's coming up, any information we need, right? It's something that in all areas of life changes everything. So I can say, like, I was able to, through channeling, grow a very successful business, find my soulmate husband, find beautiful friendships with other light leaders, move to a home that I love. It's like, it's all the things, right? Because it's divine co-creation. Divine co-creation, where we are co-creating with the divine, with the higher realms. We're in the trust, the faith, the guidance of that. Of course, things work out in a way that is soul aligned and for our highest best. And that's where channeling is just so, so, so powerful. If you want to learn how to channel and do the work that I do, I have Channeling Spirit Academy. You can find the information about it in the info box below. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Remember to like, subscribe, and thank you for being here, beautiful soul.